His darkness and his sad destroying might, abolishing forever and disclosing the mystery of his high and violent deeds, a secret splendor rose, revealed to sight, where once the vast embodied void had stood. His darkness and his destroying might. They were there all along. Abolishing, what are they doing? His destroying, sad destroying might, abolishing forever and disclosing the mystery of his high and violent deeds, a secret splendor. There now, the secret splendor which is there in him, it is that which has come into revelation, revealed to sight. So there is a double change now. Because this change has taken place, therefore the sight is able to see that change. Where once the vast embodied void has to. Embodied void, that is death. When Savitri presented herself there, then to meet her, the void had taken that form of the death and presented to her, embodied. Where once vast embodied void has stood, night, the dim mass had grown a wonderful face. It has to grow. It was a mask until now. Now it has become a wonderful face, you see. It talks of death and night, you see. Face as death and night. So embodied night, that is death. Dim night, wonderful face. The vague infinity was slain, whose gloom had outlined from the terrible unknown the obscure, disastrous figure of a god. Fled was the error that armed the hands of grief and lighted the ignorant gulf, whose hollow deeds had given to nothingness a dreadful voice. Fled was the error. We have been mistaking all along. That is our error. It is that error. Now, but that error is not only the question of only sight or experience or subjective. It is also a real thing, very concrete thing, a definite thing. It has a sort of an occult hold on us, on our activities. It is not only a kind of a vision of our error. Fled was the error that armed the hands of grief. So why grief is powerful? Because we are under the sway of error. Hands of grief are armed by error. Hands of grief are armed by error. And lighted the ignorant gulf, whose hollow deeds had given to nothingness a dreadful voice. So that is the error. And lighted the ignorant gulf, whose hollow deeds, so that is the abyss. Savitri has gone beyond now, they have crossed that abyss, you see. And lighted the ignorant gulf, whose hollow deeds had given to nothingness a dreadful voice. So actually it is that error which made the void dreadful. So it is not just a question of only standpoint of seeing that. There is a occult presence, occult content in that also. As when before the eye that wakes in sleep is opened the somber binding of a book. So you open in the sleep and see the somber binding of a book, the dark book. Illumined letterings are seen which kept a golden blaze of thought inscribed within. So the book was there until now, it was all concealed, but now something else. Illumined letterings are seen which kept a golden blaze of thought inscribed within. A marvelous form responded to her gaze. So, as if a new book has opened out now in front of Savitri. What until now was the book describing the soul of the earth, with sorrow, suffering, mortality, and all that thing. What she was reading, that thing until now. Now suddenly she sees the book of the bliss of the earth. Bliss of the earth. You illumine letterings, a scene which kept a golden blaze of thought inscribed within. There is beauty, there is joy, there is power, there is love, there is sweetness in that book. A marvelous form responded to her gaze. So that form, now that transfigured person, yes, whose sweetness justified lies the blindest of pain. Whose sweetness justified lies the blindest pain. It is because of his sweetness that the pain of this world is acceptable. Justified. Now he says, whose sweetness justified lies blindest pain. Milton's Paradise Lost begins with the justification of God's way to man. It is a justification of God's way to man. Here, in the paradise of Savitri, we have got now this figure there justifying his presence and justifying the problem of this world, blindest pain. Justify the ways of man to God, you see. It is how the opening passage of Paradise Lost tells us. I am writing this poem, Milton says, Paradise Lost, in the beginning itself, to justify the ways of man to God. So that justification had that echo to Paradise Lost, what Milton says, you see. The word justify. Whose sweetness justified lies blindest pain. All nature's struggle was its easy prize. The universe and the agony seemed worthwhile. Yes, let me accept the difficulty. Let me accept the agony. Let me accept the torture, the pain. Because behind all that, there is a sweetness. The universe and its agony seemed worthwhile. So don't complain. So this is a message we should go straight to Savitri's mother, Malavi. You see, she was shouting and crying, and she had gone into tantrums. The universe and its agony seemed worthwhile. As if worthwhile how? As if in the coric calyx of a flower, the flower is there, the coric is there, the calyx is there, it's covering. So it is that which is now disclosed like a flower. As if the coric calyx of a flower, aerial, visible on music's waves, a lotus of light-petaled ecstasy took shape out of the tremulous heart of the, that is poetry. How the sweetness disclosed the choric calyx. Choric musical, you see. The calyx is the outer covering of the bud, you see that thing, you see, calyx, of a sepals. Calyx is a sepals, you see. As if the choric calyx of a flower, aerial, visible on music's waves. So you see them on the waves of music, see. A lotus of light-petaled ecstasy took shape out of the tremulous heart of things. Lotus petaled, light petaled, lotus. So it is the Padma, lotus. In a verse, this sweetness, this marvelous form, this golden blaze, it is that lotus, that Padma. As if the choric, This sheer poetry, as if the choric calyx of a flower, aerial, visible on music's waves, a lotus of light-petaled ecstasy to shape out of the tremulous heart of things. Was it all necessary to say? When you have said, whose sweetness justifies life's blandest pain, but then the poet is in a mood of ecstasy, he is expanding, letting himself go. Not only that, he has to justify what he has said. The universe and its agony seemed worthwhile. To justify that, he is writing 4 lines. There was no more the torment and the storm, the evil sheltered behind nature's mask. There was no more the dark pretense of hate, the cruel ictus of love's altered face. Ictus, stress, trust. Actually, ictus is a word which is used in prosody. In prosody, in language where you lay stress on words, on syllables. Ictus is the stress which goes on a given syllable. Syllable. There was no more the torment under the star. Now here you can say torment under the star. So the stress is on tor. The ictus is on tor. The stress in prosody. Where the stress is going on. The cruel ictus on love's altered face. Now, cruel ictus, yeah, when there is sweetness, then it becomes cruel also. You love somebody so sweetly, so dearly, so intensely, as if you are getting crushed by it. Yeah. The cruel ictus on love's altered face, the evil shattered behind nature's mask.